Welcome to the Neuromasters Podcast, the place to reinvent yourself, master your mind, and change your life. Internationally recognized speaker, coach, and trainer Reg Malhotra will teach you tools to improve your mindset, change your behaviors, and let your relationships thrive. Are you ready to unlock the power of your mind? Here's your host, Reg.
Now, the unconscious mind is some people refer to as the subconscious mind. We call it the unconscious mind because we are very linguistical in our approach. And to us, the word sub can imply lower than or below. And by no means is this mind lower than anything. And it's nothing spooky either. Anything that you're not conscious of at a given point of time represents your unconscious mind. Now, there are many things we do unconsciously. Think about when you go to sleep. Your conscious mind has gone to sleep, but your unconscious mind is awake. It even makes sure you twist and turn. Make sure your heart is beating. Make sure your digestion is taking place. Make sure you're breathing. Are you breathing consciously when you sleep? Didn't think so. You don't say, now I'm going to breathe. You're sleeping. Something is breathing you. It's that intelligence. Just like how many of you may not have realized how much you've been blinking already in the last 2 hours. Now that I've said it, you might become conscious of it. Can you not? Yes, you can. Now, let me ask you here. Let me use an example. Who have I not spoken with here? Hank, are your feet on the floor? Your feet are on the floor right now? I want you to cast your awareness and your attention to the bottom of your feet as they're in contact with the floor. Now, that sensation that you're aware of right now was always there. Was it not? But you were not conscious of it. You're focusing on my voice. You're listening to this. But that feeling is just like the feeling of your back against your chair. You just put your awareness on it. So there's a lot of things that are happening all at the same time. There's a lot of things happening inside of you at the same time. And that's what we refer to as the unconscious mind. It's not a physical mind, but it is the collection of those unconscious things. And that's going to be very important for you if you're going to learn hypnosis. Because all learning, all change, and all behaviors are unconscious. They start consciously. So when you learn to drive, you're very conscious, right? Oh my God, I got to press the accelerator and you're fumbling. But what happens after a period of time? How many of you have driven somewhere and you don't even know how you got there? You don't even know what controls you were pressing. It's unconscious. Ultimately, everything has to become unconscious. Anything you're good at in your life is because you're unconsciously competent at it now. You don't have to consciously think of it. So as you do this training, you will become consciously competent. If you practice it with others, you will start to move towards unconscious competence. That's how anything works. So, a pole vaulter may practice all the time and then eventually, like, can you imagine you and I doing pole vault? Holy cow, I wouldn't know what the hell to do. Run with a stick and then use it to jump up? Like, I think that would be pretty scary. But for the pole vaulter, Aaron's student, he's done it so many times that he would be unconsciously competent. Now we've just got to make him better, the best. While running, he's not thinking, oh, I'm going to put the stick down now. He just knows when is the right time to do it, and he'll do it. I don't know if it's called stick or pole. I should call it a pole. I call it a stick. All right, so let's test. Pole. All right, that's why it's called pole vault. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just make sure, I want to make sure your unconscious mind is here and it's ready to work with me. So I want to make sure it's here. So can I ask everyone to just stand up? And as you stand up, make sure you are safe. Your thighs are next to a desk or something, because I will be asking you to close your eyes. Now, what I'd like you to do is put both of your hands forward like this, palms facing up, and turn your right hand over so that the palm is facing down. Now make sure these hands are kind of parallel to each other. Yeah, not up here, not up down here, not like that, just parallel to each other. Right hand facing down and left hand palm facing up. I want you to take a deep breath in and breathing out, just close your eyes. That's right. What I'd like you to do is imagine a dictionary on your left hand with your palm facing up, one of those abridged heavy dictionaries. That's right. Just imagine it placed there. And I want you, at the same time, I'd like you to imagine a balloon tied to your right wrist. A light balloon on your right wrist. The balloon is light and it gently wants to lift up, while the dictionary wants to relax on your hand. This heavy dictionary on your left hand. And as you imagine that, I'd like you to imagine a second dictionary, same thickness, one of those big thick ones, put on top of this first dictionary on your left hand. While the right hand, the balloon on the right hand is still trying to lift your hand up higher and higher, higher and higher as it gets lighter and lighter, lighter and lighter. While the two dictionary gets heavier and heavier on your left hand, and you're trying to make sure this balance remains. Notice how much heavier your left hand feels and how much lighter your right hand feels. That's right. And I just want you to now open your eyes. Keep your hands there. You can open your eyes now, and just if there's a bit of a gap in your hands, then that's another signal that your unconscious mind is also here and listening. So we're going to try different things. See, because the unconscious mind does not know the difference between real and imagine. It doesn't know the difference between real and imagine. And that's something, this is called, everyone can write that down, this is called the suggestibility test. This question is not in your test. It is not in your test. I can let you know this question is definitely not in your test. Okay? As in, what is a suggestibility test, right? Now, this is a suggestibility test. It helps you figure out how suggestible you are, but it also helps you see how suggestible your client is. And it also helps them see that they can be suggestible. Right? So that's a suggestibility test. Now, there are different types of suggestibility tests. Now, another one is, please take your hands and clasp them together. Clasp them together. So put the fingers through. That's right. Clasp them together with your 4 fingers, whatever you call them, the first finger outstretched together. So they are facing each other, rest of the hand is clasped. In a moment, I'm going to put an invisible vice grip, right, on your fingers, and I'm going to twist it like that, while your fingers remain like this and your hands are clasped together, and you will feel your fingers drawing closer, tighter and tighter together. These 2 fingers, okay? So let's have the hands there, and I'm going to start turning the vice grip, invisible vice grip. And as you imagine your fingers getting tighter and tighter, closer and closer together. That's right. That's right. Tighter and tighter, tighter and tighter. And you can test it to see if you're able to move your fingers away now. Many of you will notice that they struggle to move away from each other. That's right. So that's another way we test the unconscious mind. It's called the finger vice. And there is another test called the sway test. Now, we're not going to do that here, but if you're in person with a client, you can ask the client to stand up nice and tall and look at the ceiling, right? You get them to look at the ceiling, and then you get them to close their eyes, okay? And then you ask them to feel themselves beginning to sway like this, backwards and forward, while they're looking at the ceiling with their eyes closed. And what you'll notice is, as they're swaying, the unconscious mind is making sure they don't fall over. They're not doing it consciously. You can try and do that if you ever want to. That swaying is a sign that the unconscious mind is, you can try and do that. So if for those who are in a safe spot, you can try and have a look up at the ceiling and then close your eyes and have yourself sway backwards and forwards. And as you focus on just looking up with your eyes closed, notice that there is a bunch of muscles that is ensuring that you do not fall. Okay, that also suggests that your unconscious mind is nice and ready, and it's operational, and it's doing its job. That's very important.
Thank you for tuning in today. Are you ready to take the next step and find out what's keeping you from reaching your goals and creating the life you want? go to go.neuromastersacademy.com/GS-LP for a free transformational mini workshop with Reg. See you next week.